Welcome to Success Leaves Clues podcast, where I find regular people doing extraordinary and phenomenal things in corporate America and entrepreneurship. Of course, I'm your host, Dr. K. I have with me today Tanya Kelker, the Business Bae. Welcome.
Hey.
You are an amazing entrepreneur. I'm glad that you blessed me with some time to come onto the podcast. I've seen you do a lot of stuff. You have multiple businesses, but I primarily wanted to get into your business of spas and how you set those up, how you train people. It's completely unique to me, especially in our culture and in our community. So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Hey, everybody. I am Tanya Kelkar, and I am the owner and founder of Body Party Wax and Beauty Studios, which is a traditional and non-traditional day spa. And we normally specialize in intimate skincare services.
Okay.
So that's the non-traditional part of the type of services that we offer, which is, typically your Brazilian wax, your V-steams, your vajacials. And we also do the traditional services such as like your facials, your brow wax, just the normal things, but we specialize in the intimate skincare area because a lot of people, they do not put any emphasis or focus on that area for both men and women. And it's something that it's one of those quiet, best kept secrets that people get done. A lot of people, they don't tell you they get it done, but they get it done.
I mean, that's an awkward conversation. How do you bring that up, right? So it's probably...
Actually, when people find out what I do, that's when people start telling me their whole life story. They're like, hey, how much is too much hair? Or how much is too little hair?
Really?
It goes like they immediately start talking to me about it.
Okay.
It's like people are seeking out people that can help them with this private issue or private thing. And they're just looking for someone that can help them, which worked in my benefit for having a business that had a large need, but a small amount of people that were actually providing a solution for the need.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That is kind of how I even started with opening up the day spa.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. How did you find out that there was a need for this in the community and that you could provide that service?
So actually, here's the funny thing. I got into it by accident.
That's a blessing.
Yes, you fall into purpose, okay?
Yep, that's right.
So I had been personally getting these services done since I got out of high school, right?
Okay.
But I live in Mississippi, and most of the places around me, it's real taboo to even talk about anything like Brazilian wax, any type of anything other than your face. Like, you just don't really talk about it.
Well, you're talking about the Bible Belt, right? So everybody's a little conservative, a little hush-hush. Yeah.
Yeah. So you hear that, you be like, you do what? And I'm like, I was trying to find a place to get it done. And it's just the places that did it, they didn't do a good job. So I was living in New York and I got the best wax of my life, right? And I was just like, ma'am, what is your job title? Like, what? Cause I don't want to keep calling you the wax lady because right now we go together because you just gave me the best wax ever, okay?
Yeah.
And I literally looked up esthetician because she told me she was an esthetician. I had never heard of it.
Okay.
I was like, how do you spell that? And I looked it up. I looked at a school that was close by in New York, and I got trained and I got all this information about this industry. And I found out that I wasn't the only one that needed these services or that was desiring these services, especially in my area.
Yeah.
And come to find out, most of the people that do the services, they don't look like me. And that was just the biggest thing for me to figure out that it was a need. Because once I started talking to people about it, they were like, wait, you do those services? Please wax me. Because they was looking for someone that looked like them, that could wax them, that understood their skin.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I was like mentioning as far as the community, because in all these types of services, you talk about, like you say, eyebrow waxing or facials, massage places, all of these different places. You don't see a lot of people who look like us.
Yeah.
And do you have any idea why that's missing? Is it an educational thing? Is it exposure?
I think it's a little bit of both. So like exposure, meaning because it's so not talked about in our community that
Mhm.
people that do it, we don't really talk to people in masses about, oh, we got a wax done.
Yeah.
It's kind of you get it done and it's done. And so
Mhm.
you don't really talk about it until somebody bring it up. And
Okay.
so it's not a conversation that's easily brought up or just comes up naturally in conversation. So I think that's where the exposure piece is there. Because a lot of times they see, oh, that's not for us. We don't do that.
Yeah.
But we absolutely do. We
Okay.
absolutely do. And the industry side, because people didn't really hear about people doing these things, it wasn't really a lot of people that looked like us that was going to aesthetic school. We would primarily go to cosmetology school, barber
Yeah.
school,
Yeah.
but not really aesthetic school. But that has even changed now that the enrollment rates for people of color inside of aesthetic schools have drastically skyrocketed with the popularity of the intimate skincare services being now talked about in the open.
Okay. So you taught me a new word, aesthetics
Mhm.
school. So
Yes.
are you training people in this in aesthetics, or do you offer a school, or are you hiring people who are already licensed in this area?
So all of that.
Okay.
So when people actually come and work into the organization, they have to take my training classes because I have trademark techniques that is unique to my studio. So
Mhm.
everyone that works in the studio, you have to go through the training of how we do services. Yes, we hire licensed professionals. We would love for someone that already wax, but it's not a necessity
Okay.
because it's a teachable skill.
Gotcha.
And so we are absolutely teaching you and training you exactly what you need to do our way so that when the client comes, just like when you go to McDonald's, when you go to McDonald's, you expect a Big Mac to be a Big Mac in DC, Atlanta,
Yeah.
Texas, wherever, right?
Uh-huh.
The same way with our waxes. Any location that we are at, we expect the clients to be able to come in the door with the expectation that they're going to get the same service, right? But I don't exclusively train people inside of the studio. So
Gotcha.
all
Okay.
the services that we do offer are classes that you can take with me to incorporate in your own spas.
Okay. So a couple questions. Somebody
Okay.
who wants to take your training, your courses and specialize in this,
Mhm.
how do they go about getting into that training or that education?
So on my studio's website, which is Body Party Studios,
Mhm.
you just simply go on there and book a class.
Okay.
Book a class.
And the classes are in person, virtual? Do they need to fly out to a certain location?
So we do both, but we
Okay.
prefer in person.
Well, obviously for what
Yeah,
it
we
is, right?
prefer in person because what we have an option where you can take just the 1 day or 2 day class, but we
Mhm.
also just incorporated a new option where you can come in and learn the service and it's a whole week long class, right? So you
Yeah.
come in and you do your training, but we also put you in the system to take walk-ins at our studio so you can get so when you leave that 1 week, you've had experience with more than one client in training. So that
Okay.
way you can up your skill level and you
Mhm.
can go back proficient when you go back into your own setting.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's why we prefer in person
Mhm.
so that you can get that hands-on experience.
Yeah, because you can get a lot of understanding in a short amount of time, but nothing beats experience, right?
Yes,
And
nothing.
one client's not going to necessarily be like the next, and
Yes.
you're allowing people to actually get hands-on experience with multiple different types of clients.
Right. Because everybody, like, that was the amazing thing about when I got in this industry. Because, mind you, I am a whole accountant as well. Like, I went to
Yeah.
college for
Uh-huh.
accounting. Okay. You
Yeah.
couldn't have told me I wasn't going to be a partner at the top accounting firm in the country. You couldn't have told me any of that. Okay.
Mhm.
And then for me to get in the beauty industry, and then find a whole passion. The whole passion came out where I have all these clients on the table. Everybody is different.
Mhm.
So it's not no just one size fits all. It's literally people's hair patterns go all different ways. It's amazing how many hair patterns it is. It's amazing
Yeah.
how many different skin types, how many textures, and just different things. And to be able to make a difference in people's lives just by doing a wax,
Wow.
like the impact this industry, the beauty industry has on our clients is unmeasurable. It's immeasurable. You can't even measure it because it's so great.
What's that impact like? Is it health benefits to doing this? Is it just self-esteem and making the person, feel better and more confident about their self by getting this done?
A little bit of both, actually.
Okay.
So like we'll start with the women, okay?
Yep.
So a lot of times
start with the women. I thought it was only women.
No, we wax men too. Every service we offer,
Really?
we offer for men too. Yes.
All right. I don't want to be judgmental. I've never heard of that. So that's new for me.
For the men, it's called a manzillion, right?
Oh, a manzillion.
Yeah. So it's a Brazilian for a man.
Okay.
And you can do everything gone, or you can leave a little hair below.
Okay.
Whichever one you choose, but most guys, they just get it all off. So the main reason why, because people hear this, they're like, why would I get a wax? That sounds like it hurt. Like, I don't think I want to do that, right? Why would I put myself through that torture?
Right.
But when the clients come to the appointment, right, a lot of them, for the health benefits, a lot of them, just like a guy, when you shave your neck and everything, you may break out because you're allergic to the razor.
Yeah.
If you break out here, you're probably going to break out down there.
Oh,
so if you are, and it's not really the razor, sometimes it's the nickel inside of the razor blade that you're actually allergic to, or you're either shaving in the wrong direction, or with probably razors that don't really work. They're probably cheaper razors, right?
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of people have that issue, and then that makes them more prone to ingrown hairs.
Yeah.
And it also causes hyperpigmentation down below, because when you shave, it's rubbing up against the skin, causing friction, which we call razor burn. So the biggest health benefit of getting a Brazilian wax is that it eliminates the ingrown hairs. It also helps to lighten the skin below from the friction that causes from razor burn. So those are the main health reasons that people get waxes. Now, the emotional and self-esteem thing, I've helped save a lot of marriages by being on the table.
Yeah.
And like, you'll be surprised by how many people they come, that 30 minutes that they're for their appointment. Because mind you, the wax takes maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15, but we book 30-minute appointments. But during those appointments, we're having conversations. Like, you would think it's all quiet. No, they bear it all to us on their table. Yeah. It's almost like a whole counseling session, because if you can get someone to be vulnerable enough to see their most private parts of their body, they will tell you everything. And everything, okay?
I guess you're right. You know me now, right?
Right. We're friends. Like, you know me. So listen, let me tell you what I got going on. Yeah. So in the emotional side of the impact is you find out, hey, a lot of wives, they're like, I want to do something different. I want to spice it up. And it's not all sexual. Like most people that hear, because first thing you hear with intimate skincare, you think sexual, right? But it's not it's not a sexual, there's nothing sexual about the service. Mind you, there's nothing sexual going through anyone's mind, because they're like, girl, this hurt, but I like talking to you.
Right, yeah.
And a lot of my clients, they've told me how it just helped make them feel better about themselves, because by being vulnerable to me made them be able to open up and talk more to their spouse.
Man, I wouldn't even think about that. Like that's incredible. What type of person would you recommend getting into this industry? Like, what characteristics do you think that they need to have? Like you said, you're turning into not only an esthetician, but somebody who is a counselor, somebody who's got great customer service. So you're so much more than what is on the surface level.
Absolutely. So if you're someone getting into this industry on the service level, great bedside manners. You have to have great bedside manners, because you have to go back and put yourself in the place of the actual client. Okay. This client, just think about them. They're laying on the table. They're having to open their legs for a whole stranger to see their most private parts of their body, to get a service that they need, right? Because you really can't do it. You can do it yourself, but it's not the same, right?
Right.
And you need someone that is going to understand that client may be nervous. That client may feel awkward. That client may feel self-conscious. And we make it our business to make sure that our clients know we are body positive. We don't care if you're the smallest of the small, the biggest of the big. We're going to wax you. We're going to get every hair off of you. And we're going to treat you with respect and dignity.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes. So
Absolutely.
you have to be compassionate and have great bedside manners. Like the skill is teachable, but it's the soft skills that really matter and really make a great person in this industry. But then you also have layers to this industry. You have the service provider, and you also have your management, and then you have the owners. And all three requires a couple different skill levels to be able to even be in this industry. Because you can make a lot of money in this industry, but if you don't have the soft skills on the service level to make people feel comfortable, they're not coming to you.
Yeah.
They don't care. It doesn't matter how nice your place is, how great your service is, how premium your products are. No one's coming to someone that's going to make them feel uncomfortable.
Okay. And are you developing people and training people at all three of those levels, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's layers, man.
That's all. What does it feel like to mentor? And I know you got a mentorship, but when I talk about mentorship, I'm talking about specifically this business. Mm-hmm. What does it feel like to develop somebody into an owner, into an entrepreneur?
Like, amazing. It's an honor.
It is.
It's an honor because like I went through the ranks of being a service provider. Then I moved into management, and then I moved into the CEO owner, where I don't do any of the management or the service providing.
Yeah.
And to be able at the CEO and owner level, now my clients just changed. The business didn't, right? Now my clients are not the people coming in and getting the service. My clients are the people that are within the organization.
Yes.
So with that, to see the growth of people coming in, a lot of people, they come in, they have never even done a wax in their life. And I particularly prefer when someone comes and works for my organization that do not know how to wax already, because they're easier to train. Because like, you know how you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
Yeah, they don't have those bad habits. They're not coming.
You don't have to break the bad habits. So I prefer people that are licensed, that has never waxed before. Maybe they was fully engaged in facials or fully engaged in doing hair, anything but waxing, because it's so much easier to train them in my method. Because it's not I used to do it this way. Well, I understand that, but we're going to do it this way. And then just to see their confidence build with that. So then they're like, no, I got this. I'm a beast at waxing. So like my girls, I call them the arrogant Tays, because they are so amazing at wax. Yeah. That it's just to see the techniques that you created, and someone else take what you created, use it on clients, that builds their self-esteem to the point that they desire to even want to do this as well, as like from management to ownership, right? Yeah. Because also the premise of Body Party with the hiring process, it was built so that professionals can have the freedoms of entrepreneurship with the security of employment. That's how our whole structure is set up. It's set up like that. It's set up so that they can win from the door. I don't pay minimum wage to none of the girls. Like, they get premium prices, even though they didn't know how to wax when they came. Yeah. They get paid premium salaries, because I want them to understand that no job, no business that you are ever at should take up all of your time, and then you not get compensated for your time, because this is a ministry, and this is not a hobby. And for that, you should be compensated for your time. And I have no problem with giving higher percentages and higher pay for premium work.
Now, you're an accountant. Mm-hmm. So from that perspective, I know it's good practice. What you're saying is fantastic. And I wish more business owners and entrepreneurs would think like that, because a lot of people want to pinch pennies and hold on to everything that they have and try to grow the business while they're kind of taking advantage of other people. Right. You have a different philosophy, but from an accountant perspective, how does that impact your business?
So, although I'm an accountant, I have an accountant, right? And me and my accountant, we be fighting all the time. I be fighting for my girls. I be like, no, I understand, because the industry standard for employment is employees and payroll should be 20% of the overall, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you now, that's not it. That's not it, right?
Yeah.
I won't tell the numbers, but that is absolutely not it. So that is why me and my accountant fight all the time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I told my accountant how the vision for the business and why I do the payment structure the way I do it till he understood and stopped fighting with me. I think he does not agree at all.
Yeah.
But he understands now, and I was able to do that because this was not my main source of income. Because a lot of the problem that comes with business owners, why we can't be as flexible, is because we're dependent upon all income that comes from our business to pay our way of living, for our way of living.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then you're going to make sure that you survive, and that makes you less compassionate about the people that you're cultivating in your organization.
Yeah, you're right. So speaking of the whole accounting background and you having an MBA and going on to run major firms and be an accountant, how did you transition from that into this industry? And like you said, this is your mission. So it's so much more behind it than just the business model itself.
Right.
But I'm taking it that this is your passion. And so how did you transition from your career path into your passion?
So I will say, so like I said, when I graduated from undergrad, like I worked at one of the top accounting firms in the country.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't have told me that I was going to be a partner. That was the career path that I was on. Right.
Yeah.
And I decided, that I wanted to stay in town, instead of go to Atlanta to work at the firm. So that was the first decision that I made. That, thinking back on it now, that was the turning point. But I didn't think that was not where I was going with this conversation, but that was the turning point.
Okay.
When I turned down the initial job offer to move out of state to go to the accounting firm, right? I stayed in town and I worked within a small business firm in my town. And that's when I realized all the things that I learned in school was not structured to help small business owners. And that was the first thing in my head. Wow. I was just like, I had to learn all these new systems and all this stuff. Now I had a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, and a lot of certifications by the time I started when I was in the corporate world, right? And coming to find out that what we learned does not help small business owners. So it defeats the point of even having all this, because I'm gonna have to relearn and retrain everything, right?
Yeah.
So that was the first thing in my head about, no, let me help this small business by upping my skills, right? Mm-hmm. So that was in 2010. And then fast forward to 2015, my husband is a barber. I met him in 2014. Mm-hmm. And when I met him, he was working in this barbershop. And when everybody found out I was an accountant, everybody's first thing was, hey, can you help me do my taxes?
Do my taxes, yeah.
I was like, I don't like to tell people I do taxes because I do tax planning as opposed to tax prep. So most people don't understand the difference. And I'm like, and most people don't have all their stuff in order. So that's why I don't like doing tax prep. Yeah. You know, I'm like, I know you don't have nothing I'm going to ask you for. So I don't even really want to do your I don't want to be responsible. Okay. Yeah. And that got my wheels to turning that, you know what? People in the beauty industry need someone that can advocate on their behalf, because all my mentors, when I brought that to my mentors, everyone in the accounting field, they was like, you're crazy to take a risk on only niching down to the beauty industry. Like I got so much backlash. They're like, they're never going to pay. They don't make any money. They're cash basis. That's a horrible industry to focus on. Why don't you focus on doctors? And why don't you focus on people with steady income? But I'm looking at my husband. He was my boyfriend then. I'm looking at his income. I'm looking at everybody in the shop. You spend a day in a barbershop. Yeah. Listen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The $25 per person, you can get 3 people in an hour. That's $75 an hour. You there 10 hours. I mean,
listen, I don't even got hair and I pay $20. It's nothing but a lineup on my beard and I'm paying. So
just imagine you do anything else, and they're doing facials in there. They're doing steam treatments. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, no. I don't know what beauty industry professionals y'all deal with, but the ones that I see on a regular basis, they're doing something, okay? And I was like, they need an advocate. So that's when I
Wow.
became Bay,
They
the
need an
beauty
advocate.
accountant. So that's how that started. And
Uh-huh.
then 2017, April, my husband's ex-wife asked me to help her set up a makeup studio.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, no problem. We're having just a basic consultation. And I was just like, you know what? I've had this idea about doing a wax studio. How about, because she was telling me she wanted to do makeup 7 days a week. I was like, we live in Mississippi. Most people are not going to get their makeup done. What are you going to do on Monday at 3:00? And she was like, I'm going to do makeup. I was just like, how about you add some other services? And that's when I told her about wax. I said, why don't you add wax? You're licensed to do it. And she was like, I don't want to do that. So no, at this point, no one knew I was licensed. Because mind you, I got licensed and did nothing with the aesthetics license because I had no intention on using it. I thought I was going back.
How long were you licensed without using it?
I got it in 2013. So this is 2017. Like 4 years.
Is there a reason? There's a reason why you didn't use it?
Yeah. Well, I had no intentions on using it. I only got it because I was genuinely curious. Remember I told you about that lady in New York?
Yeah.
I went up to the aesthetic school and they tricked me into signing up for school. They started talking to me like I like to be talked to. They started talking about work at your own pace, pay as you go. I said, what?
This is me right here. Yeah.
This sounds like something I want to do. And I honestly only did it because I was living in New York by myself and I was able to go to class after I got off work. I was literally just killing time.
Okay.
So in my head, I didn't know that this was going to be something I was going to need in the future. I honestly was just trying to be a better client.
All right.
So fast forward to 2017, when I'm having this conversation with my husband's ex-wife, I said, I told her I wanted to open a wax studio, and I told her about, something I had in the back of my head. It wasn't something I thought I was going to pursue. And she was like, why don't we go in business together? I was like, I don't know about that. Then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? Let's do it. So that was April 17. May, we found a place. And July 4th of that year, we opened. And
where was that at?
In Pearl, Mississippi, where our original location.
Okay. All right.
I opened it with my husband's ex-wife.
Yeah. Hey, I'm proud of that because so many people, not to get into a relationship conversation, but they got so much ego that they can't work with other people. And just because our relationship didn't work out doesn't mean you're now a bad person.
Right.
I married you or I'm dating you because I saw good qualities in you.
Yes.
That doesn't have to end because we can't get along in this relationship or we have differences.
Yes.
So anyway, I love
that.
I love
it. That is the story between because I have 3 boys, right?
Okay.
Well, my oldest, so when me and my husband got together, he had a son, I had a son, and we have a son together.
Okay.
So my oldest son's dad was my fiance. He's my ex-fiance. Like we didn't actually make it to the altar because we found out that we shouldn't be married before we got married, right?
I'm glad you found out first. Yeah.
But he's still a really good friend of mine. And that doesn't change the relationship that we have, but it's more because he was my friend before we even dated. Yeah. He just turned back into my friend after we dated. I was just like, look, we probably shouldn't be together for real, but you're a great guy. Business-wise, I help him with all his accounting, business stuff. Like when you know someone's strong suit, you have to put all that other person's stuff to the side. Yeah. And that was July. So then going back to July, we did go off on a tangent. Go back to July, we opened. And October, she told me she didn't want to be in the beauty industry no more. Yeah. Oh. Mind you, July, I stopped seeing all accounting clients because I said, you know what? I'm going to give it all I got to open this business because on one hand, everybody that worked with me, their whole thing was, okay, you're giving me great advice, but you're an accountant. You never really built a business. So although the advice and everything, the consulting, everything I was doing was great information, it's totally different with someone that has tangible results. Yep. So my idea was
really once you've lived it, it's different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although it say it works, but it's a different perspective with someone that has experienced something that you're going down through. and they've
Yeah.
already seen it from the other side.
Mm.
It's a difference of perspective as well. And it's a difference in advice you get too.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just, I only wanted to do this for 90 days. And I was going to give her the business. But we did 90 days and she gave me the business. She was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I was like, girl, I had no intentions on stopping seeing my accounting class because that was my bread and butter. I was like, what you mean you don't want to do the beauty industry no more? Girl, what?
Wow.
But I wasn't even angry with her or nothing. And she was just like, I don't want to do this no more. So November, I became sole owner. So November of 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've been 5 years in. That's it.
Yes.
So we're coming up on the anniversary, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Can't wait to celebrate that with you.
Yes. Yes. But it's been real good though.
That's awesome.
A lot of ups and downs, but real good.
Yeah. What would you say is the hardest thing that you had to learn since you've been in business?
Seeing myself as a business owner. So that was the hardest thing, because when you're in a leadership role, in order to be a great leader, you have to see yourself first. Like, you can't lead other people effectively if you don't know yourself in and out all the way through.
Right.
Because being a owner and being someone's boss, definitely when you've been like a solopreneur, it's different. It's very different, because now you have to learn to delegate. And delegation is not my strong suit.
Yeah. That's a problem, like you said, with a lot of early entrepreneurs and really leaders in any industry, even if you're not an entrepreneur, even if you're in a corporate setting.
Yeah.
A lot of people have this idea that nobody can do it better than them.
Yeah.
And once you have your own business and you have this salon, you have a reputation, you have your money on the line, everything that you have vested into this, you don't want somebody else to mess it up. You don't want somebody to throw it away. But at the same time, if you plan on growing, you can't do it all alone.
Absolutely. And being able to document with because a lot of people throw out the word SOPs, which is standard operating procedures, but it goes beyond that. It's your drum beats. It's the things that you actually put into place so that you can even receive the help. Because I fumbled the ball a lot on people that come into the business when I wasn't able to actually effectively communicate to them my needs and wanting it done now, right? Because that's how I operate. But you can't expect that to be something how you push that off on other people that work for you, right? Because that's not fair for you to say, okay, I want this done, then you want it done now. Well, did you effectively train them? Do they even know what's expected? Yeah. Do they even know how to do it? Are they even the best person? So that vetting process.
Yeah.
I learned to get a vetting process real quick.
you got to assign tasks based off of their talents. Everybody's not the right person for that particular job or that particular role, even though they're strong in another suit.
Yes. Because it doesn't mean that they're not a good person. It just means that role was not a good role for them. And you have to step out of that and say, you can't look at it as, oh, I'm mad that they didn't do the job. Well, you gave them that responsibility that was not aligned with who they are and aligned with their wheelhouse. So that's on you. And that was on me when I did bad hires. And it wasn't, and for me, I would keep people on, and I know to hire slow and fire fast. Yeah. But when I knew that I was the bottleneck and I was the problem, I felt convicted, and I kept people on longer than they should. And it bled money out of my business because I wouldn't fire them so that I still had to do the work. Yeah. It defeated the whole purpose.
How did you get to a point where you could own that? Because you're so high up. I mean, you're a CEO of this business. You're, such a great background in accounting and things like that, but you're humble. And for somebody to have the ability to self-reflect and say, you know what, it's not them, it's not my staff, it's not my employees, it's not, something my mother did to me, it's me. And you're able to own that, and then not only own it, but correct
Yeah. So because I'm always on this constant journey of growing and developing, right? Because I want to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
And I had to take once something started happening to you more than one time, you have to sit back and be like, you know what? Hold up.
Okay.
Everybody not wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
So Tanya, no ma'am, let's hold a mirror up. I legit just got by myself. I wrote down, I was just like, okay, what is going on? Like, what is the problem? Because it's a desire of mine. I have this great mission with the studio and with the business. And I was like, me hiring a bad front desk person is not gonna fumble my opportunity. Like, if you can't get it together, you better get it together.
Yeah.
Because it's not the service provider. Mind you, all the service providers, they've pretty much been there from day one. They won't leave, which is a great thing, but they like it there. You know, my service providers, they don't leave, but it's the front desk and the staff that is not doing the services, right? Mm-hmm. So then I said, well, what is the problem? Is it me? And I was like, it got to be me, you know, because I'm like, when I'm interviewing them, they seem like a good fit. What is the difference? And I looked at myself and I saw, well, how did you make them feel when they couldn't perform the task? Because I assumed that once we had a briefing about what to do and they told me they knew how to do it, I'm a A-type personality. I'm an Aries as well. So it's like, we had a conversation about it. I gave you the floor to ask any questions, but you didn't ask no questions. So I assumed that you knew what to do.
That you knew it, yeah.
So it behooved me to go back and look at, no, Tanya, they're afraid to disappoint you. Wow.
So they don't want to say something that they don't know.
Yes.
Because they want to live up to your expectation, your standard.
Right. And I'm sitting on the other side of that. I'm like, I wouldn't have asked you to do it if I thought you could do it. Like, you got to know me better than that. I'm not going to set you up because I still need it done. So if I thought you couldn't do it, I would have never asked. I would have never given that to you if I didn't think you had the capabilities. Mm-hmm. So I have this gift and curse that I see more potential in people than they see in themselves. And so for me, I had to figure out how to give people a soft landing when they come and talk to me, and when I'm developing them, so that they can feel comfortable. Let me know, well, Tanya, I have a question, or Tanya, can you show me another time? Instead of people always wanting to tell me, yeah, I got it, because you don't. And now I'm upset with you because
they're probably seeing that in you, right? So you're a go-getter, you work hard. Like you said, you're a personality. So they're definitely trying to live up to your standard, and they're following the leader. So they feel they have to do what the leader does. And you notice that really early, which saved and excelled your business.
Yes, because I was like, look, I don't need you to be me. I want you to be the best you can be, because I saw so much greatness inside of you. Even the woman that does our laundry, she does laundry. Listen, I have never seen anybody do laundry like she do laundry. And I just make sure it's my business. I speak life into them so that they don't have to see. I try not to show them the chaos because I operate well in chaos, which is not good. Mm-hmm. So, but if you're watching me and you're wanting to grow and mimic how I work, you don't need to see me do that, because that is not sustainable. Mm-hmm. So I don't even train my team and let them see chaos, because I don't want them to mimic the chaos.
Yeah. There's not a lot of leaders that encourage, uplift, and, like you said, speak life into their staff and into their people. Where did you get that from? Was there somebody in your life that spoke life into you?
I've been very blessed. It's so many, I've had so many great mentors, so many great people in my life that I look up to. I mean, people that don't even know they put an impact in my life. Yeah. Like, you know how you kind of just see people and be like, I like the way she moves, or I like the way he moves. Mm-hmm. And you just pick up character traits of how you like different things. And I've also been on the other side of bad leadership. And most people that get bad leadership or something traumatic happens to them, they go in and they perpetuate that on other people.
Yeah.
Well, I said no, because I know how that made me feel. So I'm not going to do that to someone else and make them feel the way I felt. So I make it my business to make sure people don't ever have to feel that kind of pain and trauma.
Yeah. Man, that's incredible. The the things that you're doing for everybody, you said you got that from having mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I've had some incredible mentors in my life, and I don't think anybody can truly be successful or reach their untapped potential without having a mentor.
I agree.
And your mentors, did you have to seek them out yourself, or did it kind of happen kind of organically?
A little both.
Mhm.
So ever since I've been in business, I've never not had a business coach or a business mentor in business, and I've been a full-time entrepreneur since 2010.
Why is that?
Because if as a leader, you're always constantly pouring out, right?
Yeah.
Well, if no one's ever pouring into you, I don't believe that you could be a great leader if you don't have anyone pouring it back into you, because you're always pouring out. Because what happens when you continue to pour out, you're going to end up pouring out from an empty cup. So I've always had a business coach or business mentor every year. And it may be in different areas each year, but I start the year, I was like, okay, who's going to be my coach this year?
Yeah.
And it's little things that I took from each coach or each mentor that helped develop me into the type of leader that I am. So I guess it's kind of, they kind of gravitated towards me, but I was intentional about looking for a coach each year.
Yeah.
And I find my weaknesses and go get coached on it.
You're right. You gotta continue to learn and grow, and you can't think that you know everything. So that's one key thing about seeking out a mentor, is because you have to first realize that you have some gaps or that you have some weaknesses that makes you want to even reach out and get a mentor.
Yeah.
I've seen different perspectives. So you got your free mentors and you got your paid mentors. Do you see a difference, or do you have a preference?
So your free mentors, those are people that you might see them from a distance and you're learning by what they do. They may not necessarily have to even know you or anything like that, but you're inspired by them. But sometimes you can have a free mentor that takes you under their wing because they see something in you, right? And those type of mentors that they take you under is because they want to actually actively invest in your growth and development, right? And that comes with aligning yourself and being straight focused in your work, because no one wants to help someone that's not going anywhere. No one's going to help someone that's not going anywhere. But people that want to actually grow, the right mentors will come into your life that want to help you, because contrary to what people think, there are good people in the world that want to actually see you grow for nothing. They're not looking for anything from you. But then I also think you should pay for mentorship. Like I used to get kind of hung up. I used to hate for people to call it mentorship if you're going to actually pay. Yeah. But I still kind of be iffy about that, right? Because are you really coaching or are you consulting? What we doing here, And a lot of people call it a mentorship, but it's not that. You're really just a coach. You taught me a skill and that's what we're doing. But for me, all my paid mentorships, what I expected was, yes, I'm paying for the coaching or the consulting, but the mentorship is so that I can see the behind the scenes of how you operate so that I can incorporate that as well. Yeah. So with that, it's just a give and take with that. Like, that's my perspective on the mentorships. Yeah. I still be iffy with some people that calls things mentorships, because I be like, those not mentorships. That's not what that is.
Yeah. So it's important for people to understand before if it's a paid mentorship, what they're getting themselves into, right? What that's going to include, and really the credentials of that person that's calling herself a mentor, because you don't want to put out a lot of money and you're not going to get a return. Just like you said, going back to your accounting background, if you're working for one of these large firms, you're not going to have a firm come in and do an audit for you that doesn't have a stellar background, right? So
Right.
you pay a lot of money for that stuff. So you should make sure that that person's vetted.
And a lot of times you're paying for access.
Okay.
Because a lot of people think like when you move from just basic consulting or coaching and you move to like inner circles, you move into private, you're moving to like real mentorships, the advantage is the exposure and the access, right? Yeah. Because you can pay for whatever they teach. You could probably Google it, really.
Yeah.
But what you're paying when you pay a coach or someone on that level for that skill set, you're paying to cut some of the bad experiences, right? You're paying for their experience, right? So that you don't have to make the same mistakes that they made.
The shortcut, yeah.
Right. That's what you're paying for, right? And then if that particular coach has a mentorship, you're not paying for them to come and do something for you because now that isn't a consultant. That's doing something for you. But if your coach is now your mentor, they coached you on how to do something, why to do it, when to do it, or their methodology of it. But that mentorship is the access to be able to see the behind the scenes, that they can be vulnerable and you can get that communication so that you can see what's not being taught. Because what is more important is to grow from what's not being taught and what you see and observe. Because like all my mentors, I don't care if I pay $40,000, $50,000 because I pay high ticket prices, but I also still support everything else that they do. I'm there if they have something because it's what I'm coming to see what you did on the back end. Because you could teach me how to build a course, but if I don't see how you built your course, I don't know how your brain thought. And if I'm in your mentorship, I need to understand how you think. I need to understand why you did that, not just that you did it. Yeah. Because if that's the case, I just pay you to do it.
Right. I talk about the art and the science. Yes. So a lot of people get the science. They'll go to a course, they'll go to a class, but listen, you can't make them greens like grandmama make them unless you're in the kitchen, right? You got to be in the kitchen. Grandma, okay? Look, I can give you the recipe. But there's an art to this, right? You gotta massage it. There's some fine tuning to it, and that's what I get from those paid mentorships and stuff like you're talking about.
Yeah, and I was having a conversation with someone. And I was just like, you know how people say when you have kids that if you feed them enough, you feed anyone, you feed them enough, they start looking like you.
Yeah.
Same thing with mentorship. If they start feeding you enough, you start looking like your mentor, not physically, but the way you move, the way you act, the way you show up. You start showing up like the people that's feeding you. Be careful who you feed you.
Hey, all I can say is I'm glad you're feeding me because I'm getting a lot right now. I appreciate that. I never looked at it like that. That's a good one. Yeah. Yes. Definitely. So what do you got coming up in the near future?
Okay. So I just opened up my first out-of-state studio. In Georgia, the Georgia location is open.
Oh, congratulations.
I'm excited about that.
All right.
So excited.
And man, it's awesome. How's it going?
It's going great. We had our first trainings at the end of January.
Okay.
And coming in, and what's unique about my Georgia team, they've all been business owners before. This is the first time this has ever happened. And they've all been business owners before. And then the fact that they're so excited to work up under my leadership. Yeah. I'm so excited. Like those girls that really come in and kill it. And I'm so excited for them. I'm so excited for us to get inundated in the community around here. Like we're joining the Chamber of Commerce. Like whatever stuff they have in the community, we get involved in that. Because it's not just all about the services. It's about the community as well. We're an asset to the community and we want them to use us as a resource.
Yeah.
And I'm starting, and my mentors, my CEO Playbook mentorship starts in February. So I'm excited about that as well.
Yes. Awesome. I know anybody will be blessed to have you feeding them, to have you as their mentor. And so you said it starts towards the end of February?
The middle of February. So it's going to start the middle of February. Actually, it's going to launch out the second Sunday in February.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes.
And if you give me a link, I'll put it in the description so everybody
Absolutely.
can
And I
have
give,
access
matter of
to it.
fact, I'll give something for your audience. I give them a discount code and I give it to you so you can put in the link and everything like that. Because listen, we all need some daily, and actually it's a daily text
Yeah.
mentorship. So like
Okay.
my team and my current mentees, they get daily directives from me. Like we work on one particular task or focus
Yeah.
for the month.
Mhm.
And for that month, each day we have directives so that we can get better in that area. And I write them I do how-to videos. Like if they have a specific issue that they're dealing with around that focal point, I make on-demand videos for them on trainings and things like that on what they actually need and what they're going through and what they need help with.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing. And I just decided to open it up past my immediate network. And so that's what's the opening up to outside of my immediate network starts in February. So I'm excited about it.
Awesome.
Like,
You got a lot going on. I
yeah.
appreciate you sharing that. And I appreciate you offering, to give some kind of discount for the viewers and everything.
Yes.
It's such a blessing to have somebody like you that even offers a mentorship, because you not only teach and educate people, but you uplift them, you speak life into them, and you help them emotionally, spiritually. You talk about the counseling and things of that nature. So I know anybody's going to they're going to grow so much and learn a lot from your mentorship.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Cause if your audience don't know, you are so amazing, first of all. Okay.
Thank
you. Listen, you out here changing lives and doing some amazing work, and just even bringing the access to your platform and bringing your audience different people that can show them different things and help them. That shows to your character.
Mm.
And I think that's so amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Amazing.
Appreciate it. Well, there's something I like to do. This is Success Leaves Clues podcast. So I like to point out just a couple of clues that I picked up, during our conversation. And of course, the viewers probably picked up a lot more on their own. But I actually touched on a couple of them. One is the way you give into the community. You don't look at anything you do, your business, even when you was in the corporate sector, you always sought out a way, even past up, moving out of state, to be more in the community, more a part of the community. And I think that speaks a lot, and that has helped make you so successful. You talk about continuous education and mentorship, being a part of that continuous education, right? Always having somebody who can grow you, pour into you. And then the absolute jewel, the best that I could possibly hear you say, is speaking life. I mean, our words have power.
Yeah.
There's so much that we're taking in from the outside all the time. Somebody who's downing you, you got haters that are knocking you in the growth of your business. And to have somebody that can be alongside you, even if it's your customers, and you're speaking life into them and allowing them to, just like you said, lay on the table and just become a better person, right?
Yeah.
That's why you're being blessed, and that's why your businesses are growing, because
you.
you're just pouring life into so many other people.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I love that. See, look at you. I love that. Yes.
Well, congratulations. I plan on being in Atlanta next month, so I can't wait to see the new location.
Yes.
And I'm just super proud of you, super happy for you.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see the way you continue to grow over this next year.
Yes, we might have to start looking in Virginia for some locations.
All right, let's do it.
Yes.
All right, and I just want everybody to remember, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. Until next time on Success Leaves Clues podcast.
Bye.